The Bitcoin Group, the American original. For over the last 10 seconds, the sharpest Satoshis, the best Bitcoins, the hardest cryptocurrency talk. We'd like to welcome our panelists, Dan Eve, the Crypto Raptor.
Good afternoon, Bitcoin.
Adam McBride, NFT archaeologist.
Bro, I want a name like the Raptor, man.
And I'm Thomas Hunt from the World Crypto Network. Moving on to issue one. Issue one, China is back. Bitcoin production roars back to life in China despite Beijing's ban on cryptocurrency mining. Yes, just as we discussed it on the show, China can ban anything they want. We all knew it would come back, and now Bitcoin mining is back in China. Bitcoin mining in China plummeted to zero, but several underground operations have since emerged. Dan Eve, what do you think about Bitcoin mining in China? China's such a great topic. We just can't quit you, China.
I think it was inevitable that it would be back. In China, like there's too many resources. There's probably a lot of difficulty shipping all those miners out from the mining operations out to other countries, getting past like customs and excise, and they probably just like split up the miners for a brief period of time, ship them off into different places. So they, instead of 100 miners in one place, for example, they shifted them to 10 in 10 different places, made it a bit more underground, a bit easier to hide. But it was inevitable that it was coming back. And I think that article mentions that by September 2021, nearly a quarter of hash power they believe is back in China, and they believe within a reasonable margin of error as well. The one thing that they mentioned about was about the usage of VPNs while mining, and that's I thought that would be quite an issue because of latency, right? Because you need to be the quickest to find a block, especially if you've got a huge operation. Any fraction of a second that stops you submitting a hash potentially prevents you from getting a block. Again, in that article, though, they did mention about the classic thing about the Bitcoin uses mining power uses as much as electricity as a country like Norway or Sweden. Which they also could have said, or I'd imagine that the smug smile on the IMF right now because of Bitcoin's drop is also probably about as wide as Sweden. So there's plenty of plenty of comparisons you could do that don't really make that much sense. The Bitcoin hash rate, it really did, drop to a reasonable amount when that kind of that minor ban happened. I think it was like from nearly around 197 exahashes, and I think the peak low in mid-July during the ban was 75. But we're back right now above what the all-time high was when China banned mining. So although it did have a temporary kind of dent to the hash rate, it's back straight up there. And the last couple of months have been, since January, has been pretty much hovering around all-time highs around this level now, and hitting a peak of like 251 exahashes. So regardless of whether China bans or unbans it, there's the good thing about mining and about Bitcoin is that it's decentralized. So you can just kind of if you try and cut the head off a snake, or maybe it's not a snake, but it will just be two snakes, right? Then there's two different snakes mining in two different areas. And then if you cut that again, there'll be three snakes. If you cut one of those, you cut both of them.
What snakes. Kind of garbage totalitarian system can't control fucking a bunch of Bitcoin miners? Like, they're not that hard to find. Right. And especially you're saying, when I read, I didn't even realize you could use if you could use a VPN to hide your mining activities, and they feel so emboldened that they're not even doing that. Like, fuck it. Can you imagine? It's amazing. We just know, it's just paper tiger. They don't have any fucking, or the people who are running those mining rigs are so well connected and so powerful, I don't know, locally or whatever, that the government's not willing to do anything about it. It kind of speaks to China, which is pretty.
I think that's
I was surprised.
Because like Dan was saying, like you could find these miners. They're using a lot of power. They make a lot of noise. They're generally in a warehouse. It's kind of like when they went looking for marijuana growers in the United States. They're like, that house over there is putting off a lot of thermal energy compared to that house next to it. And it was really easy to figure them out. The same thing for a mining factory, especially in China, in some beat up old village.
Part of me was like, is anybody putting their VPN into China to make it seem like, oh, like some dudes in Finland are like, you know, mining Bitcoin, but they hide their VPN into China just to fuck with China?
Or like, Greenpeace.
That would make sense to me.
Or like Greenpeace, because they're like, look, it's coming from China. It's all coal. It's all coal. It's bad.
Always
it's really
the
bad.
thing about VPN, it's like you're mixing your traffic with a bunch of other criminals. And it's like, I'm going to get accused for a different crime, something I didn't even do. Like, oh, this is a great strategy. I'm so glad they developed this.
Maybe they just have the Chinese miners have a long enough cable that it stretches. They've got like a huge Ethernet cable that goes into another country. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's how they've been getting away with it. But yeah, it's just whack-a-mole. It's just whack-a-mole. You ban it, it will pop up somewhere else. You ban it, it will pop up somewhere else.
I mean, what do you think could have happened where it went from whatever it was pre-ban to zero, right? It actually got down to zero and then came back. I mean, how does that even happen? Why would those people
that's real totalitarian government fear, where you run around your shop and you turn everything off. And you turn the miners off, you turn the network off, you shut the power thing off. Like, they're gonna come for you.
And then they'd walk around the corner, you'd flip it back on. Yeah,
exactly. You're like, they didn't.
It could be that the whole story about the mines are leaving. That could have all been bullshit. It was just sitting there the whole time, just waiting to flip it back on.
I think a lot of them left, and I still think if we look back on this historically, it's a historic blunder where China even turned off these miners to begin with. They had an incredible advantage, a national advantage, a national resource. At one point, people were even concerned that China could do a 51% attack, that they could thwart the Bitcoin network and make their own transactions and buy as many Lamborghinis as they want without paying. Which would be a huge advantage to the Chinese people, of course. But what a story. What a classic blunder. Adam McBride, what do you think about China tiptoeing their way back into Bitcoin mining?
I love it, man. I love that they can't stop it. And what do you say? I love it. I love seeing it. I love seeing that the government we take as Westerners, or at least I take as like, oh, this, you know, brutal dictatorship. Really, at the end of the day, when people want to do something else, they just say, fuck you, I'm going to go do it anyway. And that's awesome to me.
And that's what happened in Russia with the blue jeans and the television. People wanted a better life for themselves. They saw other people having that better life, and it didn't matter how strong your government was or your military. It all went down. But now it's time for the exit question. It's another Friday. It's been another exciting week in the stock markets here in America and the rest of the world. So now, Dan, Eve, it's time for you to compete with the Bitcoin ball. What will the price of Bitcoin be this time next week? Higher or low?
I think it's. Oh, we've got the camera back again. Okay, I think it's probably going to go.
He did that cut very slick, man.
That was smooth, wasn't it? And although it was smooth, I think we are going to have a little drop. I think that we haven't had the worst of it yet. I mean, we're down another 4% today, so I think it's going to drop a little bit more. There's probably going to be a bit of organized selling to get Michael Saylor and El Salvador like crapping themselves a bit more about hitting those about hitting that 21,000. I think it is the liquidation like level for MicroStrategy. So yeah, I think there's going to be a bit more downward push, but ultimately it's only up, maybe.
I'm so excited.
Are you going to give a price prediction there?
A price prediction for next week? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go 27K. 27K. Oh, that's very specific. 27.
All right, I go 26,999.
Oh, Price is Right rules. So Adam, you're agreeing we're going higher here?
No, lower. That's lower, isn't it? You said
lower.
26.
No, it's lower.
Yeah.
You get all right.
Double.
No, I bet $1.
Always lower. Everyone's a bear now. And now we're shaking the ball. Will the price of Bitcoin be higher this time next week? Reply hazy. Ask again. Reply hazy. Ask again. There's a focus.
You're not allowed. Are you allowed to ask again?
Transparent. That's amazing.
It's telling you to ask again. Surely you should ask again, or is that against the rules?
Oh no, you can't anger the
Oh,
ball by asking.
you
That's like you're one of those, you go up to the genie and you're like, I wish for more wishes. And you know
oh
what you
yeah.
get?
I
You
wish
get
for 100 wishes.
You
all
get
you
a big pile of turd.
issue. Issue 2 is the only wish you get. Miami's mayor backed Miami Coin Crypto. Then its price dropped 95%. We're back to back things that we predicted on this show. The city of Miami wanted to fund everything they did with cryptocurrency and have the people fund it. They were hoping this cryptocurrency could one day even replace municipal taxes as the government's primary source of funding. The Miami coin was worked with an organization called City Coin that was going to create these amazing coins for other cities as well. What we talked about in this show, we talked about Aurora Coin, California Coin, and so many other localized cryptocurrencies that we've enjoyed in the past. Adam McBride, what about Miami Coin and their unbelievable 95% drop? Is it over for
I
City
just,
Coin?
this is the first time I've looked into it, like really looked into it. And I went in and I researched what it is to like be a miner. Did you read this garbage? There's no
Yeah.
mining
It's proof of stake
at all.
right, pretty much.
There's like nothing. There's
Yeah.
no mining. You're basically like gambling. You're like you put stacks in or whatever. And if
Buy
you
tickets.
put stacks in and then you get Miami coin back. And if you randomly win that block, you get more stacks back, or not even stacks. You get the fucking crap Miami coin back. I mean, dude, this is the biggest. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. What are you gonna say? I mean, it's just completely ridiculous. It's a huge nothing burger. It's unfortunately a blight on Mayor Suarez for picking this as like gonna be a winner or something good. Whatever, they get $5 million out of it. You're just grabbing money from other people. I mean, this is pure scam. This is bad. This is worse than Luna. I mean, this is like bad. Like, I can't believe people signed up for this.
Well, and you can see why they wouldn't do mining. Mining, you'd have to have actual machines.
Yeah, you'd actually have to have something.
If someone,
Why would you want to do that?
Yeah, you'd have to.
Why would I want to actually do like something? Why not just
Prove my work. Why would I want
do
to prove
nothing
my
and
work?
make
You could
money?
just run your cryptocurrency on an Excel spreadsheet. That would
When
be
I
so.
can just have snake oil.
Bro.
And that they did. Miami Coin. Yes, it was beautiful. It was beautiful to see. And just like everyone, they always come to Bitcoin. They're like, Bitcoin is great. I can improve it. I can add on to it. What Bitcoin was really missing was a specific coin for the city of Miami. Now, they didn't put palm trees on it and make an icon so Adam couldn't enjoy it as an NFT. Otherwise, we were right there. We're like that close.
I mean, dude, at least if they had done something, like you could have done something. Like if they had forced, for example, if you had to pay whatever parking fines in Miami coin, okay. That creates like a desire to have the coin. Like you have to have it to do certain things. Probably would have been illegal. Like they probably can't even do that in the States. But if they had done something like that, like I to get to NFTs, like ApeCoin, right? To buy certain things, you had to have ApeCoin to buy certain things. Give it some utility where you actually have to have the coin to do something. But even in that article, they were like 0 merchants took it. The city didn't even take it. It was basically it was literally not used at all other than for mining. And it's like, what are you mining? And it wasn't even mining at the end of the day either. So it's just one giant Ponzi. It's Ponzi's all the way down, man.
Well, and at one point, that was one of the major use cases of Bitcoin. People would buy Bitcoin to then wager on the altcoins and buy Ethereum or whatever they wanted. And Bitcoin was the gateway for that. So I could see that working for another coin. I could also see the NFT example, as much as everyone is kind of turning against them lately. If the city of Miami sold off like this fountain and you could own the fountain and it was a one of one, I think people would invest for that. And also you have that corporate idea there where maybe some law firm comes through and they're like, we want to sponsor all the fountains in the city. And we buy up all the NFTs from all the punters that bought them for $500 and they sold them for $1,000, and the law firm's never going to sell them. So you just lost your chance to have a fountain in Miami.
Dude, you make it a community token where you get access to stuff. You make it have some worth, some value. All right, then you can only buy the NFT using Miami Coin. Hey, you got something there. But this is a big giant nothing burger. It's amazing. It's amazing that this was the strategy they went with. I mean, the strategy is just, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe, honestly, those dudes at Stacks and the company involved in this who's making these coins for different cities couldn't come up. I could have come up with a better strategy in 2 seconds. Like, it's incredible, the lack of vision.
It is funny, though. We're not in the meeting with them. We're pitching here on the internet. It's pretty clear if we examine this from the outside. A slick company, outsiders from Citycoin, came in with a PowerPoint presentation. They showed the mayor how much money they were going to make. The mayor got really excited. And the last time I quoted this from The Simpsons, I used the YouTube. And of course, YouTube struck me down and said copyright infringement. But it's still from the monorail episode. It's still funny. Yeah. Still written
monorail.
Right. And the guy says, you know, a town with money's like a mule with a spinning wheel. He don't know how he got it, and he don't know what it's for. So there it is. Miami wasted their money like a mule with a spinning wheel. So let's move to the exit question. Will this be the end of City Coins, not just the company, but the idea of City Coins? Or will we see New York coin, Omaha coin, West Virginia, I don't know, New Mexico, all the coins? Everyone should have their own coin still. Or are we going to learn from this? Let's go to Dan Eve before we go to Mr. NFT Adam McBride, who's going to say, print all the coins. All right, Dan, what do we got?
Well, I think that it sounds good. I think it's your version of the coin sounded better, that you can actually do something with it, like, or there's a revenue that comes from it, and you know. But the whole pretend proof of work and the audacity to call it mining just, you know, really takes the piss. The fact that, you know, it's a lottery, you have to buy tickets, and then it's kind of a worse than a proof of stake, because you don't even get to deposit or have your coins there and they're always there. You have to actually pay for a ticket to potentially win. It sounds like, I don't know, where every time I hear City Coins, I think of that South Park episode, like, oh, hello, welcome to Shitty Coins. Oh yeah, we got the shittiest coins. The guy, it sounds like a bit, he was sold a bag of beans. Like Miami's also like bag holding a load of stacks as well. So the guy who was like shilling City Coins, and made Miami coins, also convinced them to buy a load of stacks. Well, I think they get stacks from Miami, gets stacks from people that lose money on Miami coin or something like that. I don't know. Either way, it's pretty bad. Something in the article that was quite funny was that they had to have like the PR lady had to like give everyone everyone a talk about how to talk about it, because I'm not quoting, but it pretty much sounded like they were going insane gains and only up and gains guaranteed. So they had to like discuss how to talk about it without sounding like a complete scam whilst being a complete scam. The guy as well, Stanley, I can't remember his first name, but he said, by his own admission, he said 99.99% of crypto is a scam. But obviously not his shit coins, stacks and City Coins, which he said, oh, you know, the ones you get, well, the ones that are reliable that will be here for the time,
right? Bitcoin,
Ethereum,
Ethereum,
and City Coins. Like, oh, that's talk about a shill master. Well, he obviously did a good job. They did have some cool things, like I think that they said they were going to use it to subsidize people whose rent went up by 20%. Which kind of is a nice thing, right? It's like a nice thing to do with it. So, oh, we're going to get this Miami coin in, and we're going to, people who have been stuffed by rent going up, we're going to, by more than 20%, we'll subsidize some of that. But, you know,
I do love that we always have to attach our programs to help the poor to some kind of experiment.
Garbage, man.
If we raise money on this really strange Ponzi scheme, then we'll help the poor.
It's like, you saw that article. It was like, oh, and we're going to give subsidized housing through the City Coin. Get the fuck out of here. Dude, I just sent you a link. If you scroll down to like how it works and this like bullshit diagram they have, it's like, you put money in, you get nothing back. You put money in, you get nothing back. It's such bullshit, dude. It's incredible, dude. I mean, look, hey, Miami got whatever, $5 million out of this. Good for fucking Miami. Scroll down a little bit, how it works. There we go.
How to make the monies.
You put in something you just bought and you get back a coin that's basically worthless. Amazing.
It's kind of like that Ethereum thing, right? You know, you give us one thing back, and then you'll get 5 back. You know, like it's the Ethereum scam, but in a Miami coin. Not, but however, I worked out that was it? Oh no, goodness no, that's not. It's like 99. Was it 95% down? But I don't think it's a complete. This is don't quote me on this. Well, quote me on it. I don't care. But I don't think it's a complete dead horse, because if Miami becomes like this new Silicon Valley of Web3, then they're going to be shilling Miami coin to all the noobs that ever come to conferences in Miami. So I think that whilst it may have no use and it may be a fake proof of work coin and it may be complete BS and another kind of cloud mining scam, I think that there's probably, it's not quite, I don't think it's dead because of the fact that
I would agree with you if they actually created demand for the coin, then they would have something. And you'd think it's Miami. There are plenty of opportunities to create demand for that coin.
Well, and that's the thing. It's really just a clout mining scheme, right? We think of Miami as a concept or an important city, and then they say, well, that's then worth money. We're going to monetize that. We have no reason to believe Miami would be good at creating a coin versus New York or anywhere else. Not to say that one of them might hit it out of the park. They might say you have to pay all traffic tickets in New York City with the New York coin now. And that's it. And then, like I was saying, there will be demand. There'll be hoarding of the coin, especially if it's on some kind of a release structure. But you do have to go back to this. I love the animated GIF. The fact that they made this incredibly simple animated GIF proves they're going to make
the key part's the first part.
Fires.
You put in stacks, which cost you like 50 cents each. You put one of those in, and then you get city coins back. In this case, NYC coins or whatever. It's like good gore.
I like the document here. I think that the document with a CC on it, that must represent the City Coins blockchain, I'm going to assume. But I like the way that it looks just like a Word document, like it could be easily edited and it could be saved on your computer. And it's like, yeah, we put it in our ledger. And it's just like in the old days with OneCoin. They're like, Dr. Ruja has an Excel spreadsheet with all the coins, and she's going to double your coins by November. So you need to invest now so you get twice as many coins. But again, it's this artificial value that we give to a place like Miami, a person like Kanye West or Michael Jackson or any of these things who could all produce their own coins or maybe put an image on it, complicates things, produce an NFT. But yes, I think it's going to happen over and over again. We're seeing the beginning of this. We're going to see so many more city coins. Exit question. Could you guys predict the next city coin? And for fun, tell us what its value would be. What would you be able to buy, especially with that coin? Dan, Eve, name a city.
Oh man, that's difficult. Well, obviously they said that in the article they were going for NYC coin, and they're obviously pitching it there with their beautiful diagram. So I don't know, maybe something. It's probably going to be the US, right? Because they're a Delaware based company. And forgive my British ignorance, but it says that the Delaware based company City Coins has a mailing address in a Los Angeles strip mall. Is that literally a mall dedicated to strippers? And if so, why didn't I hear about it when I went to LA?
I think it's just as good a question as why a company from Delaware has an address in Los Angeles. But no, a strip mall refers to kind of like a strip, like 3 or 4 shops in a row, and that would be called a strip mall. So they would just put up a bunch of those. So instead of having like a all together mall, you just drive down the road and there's a bunch of little like nail salons and restaurants and stuff like that.
Okay, so I'm gonna go for then, since it's topical. I'm gonna go for LA is gonna have a coin, and they're gonna do the Shiba thing where there's 7 trillion billion of them. So the price will be like 0.000000001 cent.
And what can I buy with LA coin? Oh, come on, hookers and blow. Hookers and blow.
I didn't want to be
hookers and blow.
Hookers and blow.
Adam McBride, what city will be making their coin next, and what can we expect to buy with this amazing coin opportunity?
This is not going to last, man. This is the failure. People are going to see this. No governor or mayor is going to want to hook their hook their cart to this horse. This horse is lost. It's already a blot on Suarez's reputation. So now this is dead unless they somehow turn this around. But it seems unlikely. This is dead.
Oh, come on. There's a sucker born every minute and two on Sundays. There's plenty of more cities and states that will all do their own coin. I think this
I
city
would put this out to you though. Take this model and create it for an individual where you give an individual money, like whatever, an up and coming musician, you could funnel money into him as like a DAO or something like that. And then his earnings kind of go back out. This sort of model on an individual basis.
I've heard of that before, and I think that sounds quite appealing. Like selling, it's like futures, almost selling futures of your success.
Exactly.
Yeah, yep. That sounds quite cool.
It's a lot like BitClout, and it's also like a great offer I heard from a guy named Lucifer. He said, all you have to do is sell me your soul. I'll buy it in little pieces, a little bit at a time, and eventually I own your soul.
Did you know you can buy fractions of soul?
A soul comes in fractions. It's very true. But no, I disagree. I think there's going to be lots of City coins. Unfortunately, I think they'll all fail. I think City Coin, the company, will make a better animation next time. Adam will not.
There's already an LA coin as well, apparently.
He'll be like, I'm impressed at all the computer animation that went us, the backgrounds, the shading, the tiling. Like it's practically a Disney or a Pixar project.
They'll get someone on Upwork to do it this time, not on Excel.
That's right.
Like
soundtrack cheap Fiverr garbage like they got right now.
Soundtrack by
MS Publisher.
Soundtrack by Prince. It's going to be an amazing work. Speaking of amazing work, check out the WCN Clips channel. WCN Clips now with the link fixed in the description. Yes, we fixed all the broken links in the description, and we've got new videos at WCN Clips like Roger Ver promotes Dogecoin. Is Bitcoin winning over other cryptos? And Central African Republic adopts Bitcoin as legal tender. Check them out on WCN Clips, now with more than 100 subscribers.
You guys are fucking killing it. 100?
106. Right. Moving on to issue 3. Medina confirms crypto will be taxed in Portugal. One of the last crypto tax havens in Europe seems to be closing in the future. The new Minister of Finance, Fernando Medina, confirmed in Parliament on Friday that cryptocurrencies in Portugal will be subject to taxation. He says that many countries already have systems, many countries are building their models in relation to this subject, and we will build our own. Dan Eve, paying no taxes in Europe seems to be almost over for cryptocurrencies. What do you think about the end of Portugal's tax haven status?
Well, it was a dream while it lasted, but it's inevitable that with the EU's like tightening clutches, that they're going to crack down on all that. There's still the double Irish that's happening. In terms of the the Irish kind of tax loopholes, which is why like Apple and Google and all the big fangs and all that, or fangs, yeah, you know what I mean, Facebook and Amazon, blah, blah, blah. They've got headquartered there, but they're tightening up the reins, and that's only going to happen with Bitcoin too. I mean, the thing is though, it's still classed as an asset in a lot of places, but it always makes me laugh because I know that obviously just because you say something doesn't mean it's true. Although the more the life goes on, it seems like the more people believe that. But it's called Bitcoin and a cryptocurrency, so it's money. Like the whole point of it is money. They didn't, even the white paper didn't create it and be like, it's like a bale of hay. You can sell hay. It's like, no, it's money. It's actual money. It's a means of transferring value. So the fact that it's still classed as an asset and it's cap gains related. I don't know. I think it's only a matter of time before they sort of all these international tax agreements, they close all the loopholes, everything's we've got stable coins for like the euro and stuff like that, and they track every transaction. They know if you bought a potato, they can literally track it back to the potato that you bought on the blockchain, back to the exact place in the field and all that. I think it's just sad that privacy is going to go out the window. And although privacy features are obviously still on the cards for Bitcoin, there's still going to be the fear of governments about the privacy of transactions, until, of course, they realize that they need privacy of their own transactions because they do lots of nefarious things. And if transactions are very public, then people can tell which nefarious things the governments are doing. So unfortunately, it's a matter of time. One of the article mentions one of the left bloc politician says that it's paraphrasing, but it's shameful to allow untaxed fortunes that are made in seconds while still having a VAT on electricity. And something like that I kind of agree with, especially with electricity prices now, they're going through the roof, etc. But there's plenty of other things that we don't need tax on, and we don't need tax at all. I'm sure there's other ways we could be doing it, says the libertarian in me. But yeah, it's sad. So sell everything now before they tax you on it, basically.
It's kind of romantic. Portugal really believed in Bitcoin. As you see here, Portugal does not view cryptocurrencies as an asset, but rather as a form of payment. So the country did not tax them as the former. It's almost like they're the original Bitcoiners. They're maybe even large blockers or something. They're like, Bitcoin should be used for payments. And they're just very romantic about it. And then the whole time, Bitcoin's gaining in value and becoming this kind of digital gold. And there's dozens of other networks, including the Lightning Network or Litecoin or Ethereum or whatever you want to use, that you could use pretty well for payments these days. It's not that hard, but not Portugal. They're standing by. They're like, it's for payments. And then now, like Dan says, because of the EU or because of those wonderfully untaxed fortunes that they could take a piece of, they're now opening up their ideas. And they're like, maybe it's payments and it's digital gold. Every time we talk about these aspects of Bitcoin, I'm always flashed back to, learning about religion and the different aspects of the Jesus and the big debates that they had, whether he was a god or a man or the son of God or part of God. And these kind of debates went on and on and on. And you think it sounds silly, but wait till you read Gulliver's Travels, where Jonathan Swift talks about the Brobdingnagians and the other group, Bemidnagians or something. And they went to war over which direction they cracked their eggs. You crack your eggs long ways. I crack my eggs sideways. We are at war. So it is funny, these small distributions. And then much like with the Christian religious theory, maybe Jesus is all things. Maybe Bitcoin is, all three forms of God in one, which again is complicates everything.
Did you
it's a
correlate push, Bitcoin to God?
Very much so. And I'm not, and I'm like a Buddhist atheist or something, so I'm not very helpful to their cause. But still, we can use it as an important metaphor, which I learned studying English. But what do you think, Adam McBride? Portugal, a religious country, has proposed a tax on Bitcoin, which we know is now a form of Jesus.
They all have to virtual signal that they're going to help the poor, right? All that bullshit.
They're doing it for the poor. Now that
it's not fair.
Now that we're taxing cryptocurrency, we can finally
that money goes directly to the poor, right?
This justice money, nothing else.
I saw, all I know about these governments, and because I've seen it in different countries I've been in, they always take it back. Anything that actually encourages people or frees people to not have to bend to their will, they eventually take back. Here in Costa Rica, we had this thing where people could retire here. If you were coming into Costa Rica and retiring here, you didn't need much. You needed a few $1,000s a month. You could retire here on your Social Security from the States, and you could bring in a car tax-free. They wanted these people in, and they did it, and then all of a sudden they just turned the switch off. And if you were on your way or already planning or whatever, it's like, oh, you're screwed. Sorry. And now you have to make more money somehow because you're not allowed here any longer with your measly, $2,500 a month. So this is nothing new. This is what everybody does. And I'm sure they were getting pressure. They just want to be reelected again. And it's hard to get reelected when, rich guys are not paying their fair share, as we say.
There's a little foreshadowing there as Adam is talking about all the Bitcoiners and crypto people who have moved to Portugal, who are now all planning to move out of Portugal.
Yeah, that was a dumb move. You had to see. I mean, people were like, "You should go to Portugal." I'm like, dude. Well, first of all, I'm U.S. It doesn't matter. I'm getting taxed anyway. But that was I mean, you just hear that, and that's just, you knew that wasn't gonna last. No way, no way.
Well, and now what do you think about American tax havens such as Puerto Rico? They have a similar deal. It sounds like the one you say Costa Rica had, where they want the business, they want the businessmen to come, and then all kinds of major businessmen, I won't name any names, but certain billionaires and others have moved to Puerto Rico, purchased large properties, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, that Puerto Rico thing's been around a while now, and it seems to have staying power. I mean, it's one of these things where it's this weird quirk, right? Puerto Rico's not a state. It's like a territory. It's got these weird laws around it and stuff. And yeah, I mean, that I don't think necessarily is going to go away, believe it or not.
Famously, one of the first places that employed Hunter S. Thompson. It's a small newspaper in Puerto Rico. He wrote the book The Rum Diary, not a great book, turned into not a great movie with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. It's where they met in the Hunter S. Thompson film.
Oh, can we please talk about that?
Not intentionally, but maybe if we have time, we have something to say. All I know,
you just watch what's trending on Twitter, and all day it's like, I'm looking now, what's trending on Twitter? Amber Turd. I shit you not. I shit you not. Amber Turd.
Yeah. It's an incredible topic out there. And I love Howard Stern's been playing clips, and there's a part where Johnny Depp describes what happened in his bed. He's like, Your Honor, there was a grumpy in my bed. And Howard's like, what is this grumpy? I've never heard of this grumpy before. But we're well off topic now. Let's get back to topic. Exit question. Are there any tax havens left? Where are all the Bitcoiners going to move to now? Dan, Eve, is there a citadel? Have they prepared that sea world thing where they're all going to live on horrible, rotting and decaying boats? All of the libertarians strapped together, totally dependent on each other in a socialistic strategy to avoid being socialists. What will happen next?
Well, I think as Martine's actually said, so there's Panama, right? So Panama wants to become a bit of a haven. Obviously, there's El Salvador, but with Bitcoin City, if that's still going ahead with the powered by the volcano, which sounds really cool.
It's always like a James Bond villain. He's like cackling by the piano.
Yeah.
I will get all the Bitcoiners to move there. Then I will confiscate their Bitcoin.
But yeah, maybe I think I can't see anywhere in Europe because it's being spread by the grey nano goo of the EU. And their crazy rules. So maybe it's going to be in like another South American country, since 2 of 3 of the countries that have legalized or made Bitcoin legal tender are South American. We may see one more, or maybe one in the Middle East. I don't know. Maybe that'll be quite interesting to see one of the countries in the Middle East. So Iran was pretty big on mining a while back, but I think that was mainly because they were basically mining in mosques that had free electricity, and that got kind of clamped down on a bit. But even Martin saying Dubai. I don't know. Antigua would be lovely. I could go to Antigua again. I've been to Antigua.
Yeah, Antigua's nice. You could always go to the Caymans. There are places with no personal income tax. Of course, for us Americans, doesn't matter, right? You could go to Mars, you're still paying taxes, so it doesn't really matter for us.
That's a real crazy thing. Still,
there's literally no escape. You can't go anywhere. So
Uncle Sam's long spindly fingers.
Liberty, freedom, America. So, Adam, which would you choose? Do you want Panama or El Salvador?
Look, man, I'm perfectly fine paying a little bit more for a better country. Like, I don't want to live in El Salvador. Sorry. Like, I know I live in Central America. Trust me, I ain't going to fucking Bitcoin Beach. Fuck that. A little bit of Bitcoin doesn't fix a broken nation, right? Panama's okay, but nah, man, nah. You're better off being in a nice country, man. It's worth paying the taxes, honestly.
It's almost like you get what you pay for. When you pay for your government, when you participate in your government, when you don't just complain about it, but you interact with it while it's still a democracy. Before the totalitarian period, when you did have a chance to interact with your government, Seems like that might be a good idea. Like
Hey, if China had zero income tax, would you move to China?
don't tempt the Bitcoiners that have
Don't
a
tempt the
they'll have a
Bitcoiners. Bro,
citadel
maybe
set up.
China becomes the
They'll be,
Bitcoin
they'll
hub.
be
Don't
at
fucking
Shitty
tempt fate,
Coin.
man.
They'll be like, Shitty Coin is our new restaurant, and we eat here all the time. We eat at Shitty Walk, and they'll be over there. But again, as Ralph Nader said, the lessons of history. If you're not turned on to history, and history could turn on you, or he said politics, but still just as good. Moving on, issue 5, Terra plot thickens. Leaked documents show Kwon dissolved Terraform Labs 2 weeks before the collapse. I'm not even sure how to explain this to you, but the companies that ran Terra and Luna, the two interlinked stablecoin that just collapsed because it was an algorithmic stablecoin that had no value but created value but had no value, closed their offices 2 weeks before this whole thing went down, almost as if it was a perfectly coordinated exit scam, that where when you wanted to complain and you wanted to say, hey, I just lost all my money, what happened to the plan? There is no office. There is nowhere to go. Also worth mentioning in this story, someone did go to Do Kwon's house, apparently spoke to his wife. This is reminiscent of the MtGox story where the man was waiting outside of the offices, asking Mark Karpellis where was his money, and Karpellis had his frappa latte. So yes, history is repeating here. But Adam McBride, what do you think about this? Just incredible detail. It could be nothing. They were just moving offices. They were going to set up some new offices. Perfectly reasonable explanation. But 2 weeks before the whole thing goes down, they close both of their offices. I mean, obviously,
Bro, it's incredible. You literally can't make this shit up. This is fucking insane. Like, I wonder why he would have done that. And it's not just closing offices; they closed their corporations down, like closed the corporations. And you wonder why the fuck he would do that. Like that clearly indicates some
foul play,
a bad actor, right? You wonder why the fuck. Like obviously, look. It's pretty darn clear they were just using this opportunity to siphon off $2 billion in Bitcoin. Like, it's pretty clear. But why do the things which point even worse to you? Like, why do that? Why not be like, the office, I can't believe, I had no idea this was going to happen. All this indicates is that he knew exactly what was going to happen. So I don't even, from a scammer's playbook, this just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, now riddle me this, Batman. Do we know that Do Kwon didn't attack his own coin? That he didn't receive on
dude, I mean, this is like...
We have no evidence.
If he shorted it. If he shorted it,
this is clearly, look, a month ago he said, look, I'm going to be buying Bitcoin as a backup, reserve to protect the coin and protect the peg. And they bought $3 billion in Bitcoin. And I mean, dude, it's like, how do you steal $2 billion? It's like, well, here you go. This is how you do it. I mean, it's literally incredible. And I don't understand how this guy doesn't get put in jail. Like, how does this not happen? If there isn't a case of just like clear theft, and maybe it's not, maybe that $2 billion went into, Gemini and went into whatever, not Coinbase or what, I don't even know, Binance. And maybe they did buy $2 billion of Terra to try and support the peg or whatever. But that's 5 minutes of investigative research by like how is this not going to get prosecuted? I just don't understand that these guys either aren't in jail or cleared, one way or the other. Like,
well, I remember, historically going back now when Benjamin Losky from New York City made his speech about MtGox and everything and why New York needed the bit license. One of the things he said is that during the MtGox collapse, he was in a room with the Japanese regulators, the people who should know everything about the financial markets of Japan. And he said, we'd love to help you out with the MtGox situation. We have all our guys and everything. And they said, what MtGox situation? And Bitcoin wasn't big at the time, but now we've seen the same thing where we trust these kind of anonymous guys, this Do Kwon guy. It's a variation of his name, certainly. And he's on his third algorithmic stablecoin. And everyone's like, oh, that's something we would have loved to know before we invested and all that. And the whole thing blows up. But yeah, I agree with Adam. It's just an unbelievable detail. And shout out again to CoffeeZilla, a fantastic YouTube channel who's doing great investigative reports on this. He haven't even had a clip of Do Kwon where Do Kwon was describing how he would exit scam. And he was like, yeah, I'd have the whole office ready to roll up and I'd have everything set. And I would do this, this, and this. And you're like, why is he doing this? And once again, just like with Trump and so many other criminals, they just admit it all publicly. They're like, publicly, this is what I'm going to do. And this is how I'm going to do it. And then you look back on it, and you're like, how did they do that? And especially for $2 billion, billion with a B.
I mean, I just don't understand. Where is he in Singapore? Is that where he is right now? Do Kwon? But wherever he is,
the businesses were in Korea. They were in Seoul and Busan.
I mean, to think that Korea does. I mean, look, my experience with government and government agencies is they're awful, slow, terrible, and so I'm sure they have an SEC over there, and I'm sure that SEC is just like our SEC, which is really crappy and can only come in and clean up a mess many, many months after it's over. I mean, look, how many times was our SEC made aware of Bernie Madoff, right? For years, and couldn't actually do anything till the whole thing collapsed, right? Yeah. So, this is what it is, man. These organizations aren't built for anything. They can't do anything. All they can do is maybe come in at the end. And like, dude, he probably won't even live there. He'll move to some place where he can't be extradited and live out his days as a billionaire, man.
But just how crazy is that? You can just dissolve the companies and then that absolves you of any responsibility.
Well, dude, I heard that this was interesting. Like 2 weeks ago, I read about Disney, right? Disney acquired the rights to, it wasn't Star Wars, but whatever. They acquired rights to one of their, movies that they've now made and all this sort of stuff. And one of the things when they acquired that rights was the guy who wrote the book was receiving royalties from the company that originally owned that book, right? So they bought the book and all the rights to the book, but not the having to pay the royalties part. So Disney doesn't have to pay. That's what I said. So you can buy the assets, but not the liabilities. So the liability that company was supposed to keep paying that dude royalties for every movie that got made and sequel and all this sort of stuff stopped when they sold the assets to Disney. And
I knew.
Although that's not absolutely because then the company can go out of business with all the liabilities.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And I'm like, how is this? It's the most unethical thing I've heard like ever. And it's legit. It's real.
It's being played out. It's being played out like South Park depicts Mickey Mouse. Like, oh, come on, guys, just fuck him. Come on. Like, that's it.
We
have the rights now. Fuck you.
In 2 more years, we could put up an image of Mickey Mouse from like the 1930s because he's finally coming out of copyright. They had the normal copyright was 50 years. Disney got it extended just for the mouse, another 25. And we're actually going to come to that. We're going to reach the point where everyone can use Mickey Mouse for anything they want. And he enters the public domain.
That's never going to happen, though. You know that, right?
Oh, they'll find a way.
There'll be a loophole. There'll be a loophole.
But I do love the idea of this Do Kwon and this stable coin is whether it's a straight up, allegedly, it's a Ponzi scheme, or if it's like you were building a tower of cards and it's an intricate scientific process and you screwed up a little bit and you knocked it over. And if you did that, you're not guilty of anything. You could do anything you want as long as it was like a house of cards and we screwed up. We meant good. We just knocked it over. And that's the thing is we have to figure out if this was just, badly written program, bad idea and all that, or if they intentionally hacked it, or if they knew about it being hacked, all these things. Which I'm sure the Korean government and the investigators and detectives and things should be.
I'm sure they're on the case, man.
Oh yeah,
they got them working shifts, man.
Where's Magnum PI when we need him, man? Because
all right, Dan, Eve, what do you think about Terraform Labs shutting down their offices. Just stunning.
It's extremely coincidental, right? And it's not just one, but it's two. It's two offices, both the one in Busan and one in Seoul. It just seems extremely odd. Wasn't there meant to be some like word on the street was that traditional players were behind it, like BlackRock and Citadel or something, or like took out they kind of fake into buying.
CoffeeZilla, there was like 3 different theories going around, and none of them had any evidence, but they were all really juicy and fun to talk about theories.
No, but
the
definitely
evidence that we do
VCs were in on the Luna token, 100% on that.
Yeah, but the evidence that we do have is that the company's got dissolved, and that's some BS stuff right there. Like shit, you know, that's a big indicator. It's obviously quite scary, but I thought it was quite funny when I heard that someone like snuck into Do Kwon's house, and like I could just imagine him there, like he just like gets home, he's like, and he turns on the light, and there's like a guy in the corner going, when marketing, when Binance, when Coinbase, when stock market, when Luna national currency,
when Lambo, baby,
when Lambo.
It was funny, but the guy also said he lost $2 million, and some of his friends had committed suicide. So, as much as we can see these things as scams from miles away and very questionable, a lot of other people saw them as legit, which blends into our exit question / bonus topic. Billionaire founder of crypto exchange Binance, who also wanted to give $500 million to Elon Musk to support Twitter with no business plan and no plan on how he'd get the money back, says that he's poor again after his Luna holdings. He invested in Luna once worth $1.6 billion crashed and are now worth just $2,200. Adam, you could buy all of the shares of Changsheng Zhao's, the Binance guy. You could buy all of his Luna for a mere $2,200. What do you think about first the size of this investment?
Well, the size of it was only $3 million, man. I mean, it wasn't like just some crazy amount.
Oh, was he leveraged or something?
Yeah, no, the original investment, they bought in the same deal. He got in when all the VCs got in. So they bought it. He bought $3 million. It went up 1,000x or whatever, and it was worth 1.5 or whatever billion dollars. It was like all these VC guys. I heard like the VC guys were getting in at like 18 cents, right? And it got up to like $90 or $100, right?
And I'm sure they publicized that on a publicly available website before they did it, just like all good VC guys.
Man, the 1,000x returns, right? But it's funny, man, to say. If he said that, I take media with a big grain of salt. I doubt he said that, but if he did, he might be poor with $500 million or a couple $1 billion. Guys jump off roofs. If you're worth $10 billion and suddenly you're worth $500 million, you might jump off a roof too. Like, how are you gonna fill your jet? Like, fuck, man, you're done.
I can only think of that character from Silicon Valley when he's like, I want to be 3 commas. I'm back to 2. Like, it's unacceptable. And like everyone at home is like hundreds of millions of dollars. Like he has hundreds of millions of dollars, but he wants $1 billion.
Dude, you got to be in the 3 comma club. Everything else is just poor, man.
Dan Eve is a Binance guy, poor again, now that he's lost his $1.6 billion.
Well, it's one of those things where you didn't have it, right? You had it, but you didn't have it. It's like, you had it, you invested 3 million, it went up to 1.6. I think but Binance, they made $14.6 billion last year of fees. And as much as you can hate on CZ Binance and co, but they made it on trading fees. They didn't make it on like a traditional bank does, which is like shitting on people who are in their overdraft and charging those fees. So like that's one kind of good thing, but surely that's got to be one of the biggest. I'm not sure what his stake was compared to others, but it's one of the biggest and fastest losses in history in terms of an asset that went from X to
40 billion in 2 days actually, or 1 day.
Well, and I do feel a little bit.
I calculated it
like Adam says, where he got to go on a ride. That he put like 3 million in, and he went up to 1.6 billion, and then he goes back down to 2,000. It's still a very painful ride, but he got it. He probably had fun when it was up near $1 billion. He was probably feeling
Oh,
pretty
for
good.
sure.
I mean, people
But
say, I don't know, people say he's the wealthiest guy in the world, except maybe Putin or something. I've heard that kick around. I don't know if that's true or not.
I'd imagine how many he's got some pretty hardcore like shitcoin gains under the roof. But Luna itself was
I love the early
99
stories. He had like an autistic belief in gathering Bitcoin, and he was a finance guy, but he believed so wholly in Bitcoin that he was just stacking like mad. And he deserves everything that he gets for that. He's very successful.
I worked out that so Luna lost 99.99988888898% since some time.
You're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance.
I'm saying that it can actually go up 1.111111 billion trillion %. No, but it's savage, right? It's really bad. Like no one, we have a joke about it brutal, because man. But if you put your money in, like it's an awful thing, like especially people who put their life savings in, and it's sad that that we do see a lot of that happening now. That it can still happen. There's no, there aren't protections for people. They can put all their wealth into some crazy ass shitcoin that's, what's the word? It's algorithmically, pegged as a stable coin. Algorithmic pegging, that's the next in thing in the bedroom, I hear. But sorry, I had to fit one in.
You cracked yourself up with that one, man. You got yourself.
I got you, Dan. But yeah, no, it's savage. It's savage. So just like whatever you do, like if you jump on a shitcoin ride, like because people are going to do it, they're going to dip their toes in. They're going to be like, oh, Bitcoin, I can't buy it because it's $30,000, even though it's 67, it'll be much higher. They'll still jump on a shitcoin trade, but just don't, for the love of God, don't, or for the love of don't Bitcoin, because that was compared to God earlier. Just don't put all your beans in it. Just save some beans, right? Don't just think to yourself, whenever you're buying a shitcoin, just think, can I lose all of this money right now? And that's it. That's what decision you make. Like if I put all of this money in and I lost it, like can I lose it all and not be absolutely devastated? And if you can, then then glory be, dabble in the shitcoin, or just buy Bitcoin, but just buy Bitcoin. But if you're going to do it, just make sure you don't screw yourself over.
Yeah. Good advice.
Exit question: which is worse, buying Luna when it was on its way up, like CZ Zhao, like he bought it early, or buying it on the way down, like KSI, who also turned $2 million into about $200? So which is worse, Adam, buying it on the way up or buying it on the way down, thinking that you're like a smart speculator guy?
It's paying all the way around. I guess the worst is, this is the thing. A lot of guys, nobody was buying this necessarily thinking they're going to get a big pump. They were flipping into this thinking this is their stable coin, right? It's like they were using it as stable coins. They were getting, some 20%, APY on it. It's, I know you guys do too. I'm sure it's a lot of people keep a lot of their money. Anytime they roll out of Bitcoin or ETH, they roll into stables. It's just like this. People in my DMs I'm sitting, got a whole bunch in stables, waiting to make their next big move. And you see one of these stables collapse. It's terrible. There's no way around it. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Maybe it's worse that if you had $1 billion and it gets wiped to zero, that's probably worse, that you didn't take any money off the table. But
it is a little different.
Bad.
Like CZ probably didn't have the $1 billion, whereas KSI did have the 3 million. Like he could have just bought other stuff with that. And he's clearly buying like on the way down and after the crisis. And it's just such a bizarre move. And then to tell everyone about it publicly, I don't understand anything about it, but that's what he did, allegedly. Dan, Eve, is it better to buy on the way up or on the way down? I don't know. What do you think?
It's if retrospectively, it's always better to buy on the way up, because if you're saying that, then it still went up. Whereas buying it on the way down is like catching a falling knife. But in Luna's case, it's like catching the fucking Tsar bomber. Like going, oh. It doesn't matter if you wiggle a bit either way. You're nuked. That's it. Bomb.
Although I tell you, I do know people when it was hit like super bottom, they put in, $500, and made 15 grand in, because they're traders. They were just, they caught these like bounces.
Scalp it.
and they were scalping. Yeah, some people were able to do that. I'm not smart enough to do that shit.
I don't have the willpower. Go up a bit, and I'd be like, "Oh, it's gonna keep on going up," and then it goes back lower, and I'm like, "Oh,
That's right.
I'm a loser
There's
again."
always one. A friend of mine always used to tell me how he made money on BitConnect, so he was fine.
Yeah,
And it's just you sell early, you buy at the right time, you get out. But like Dan's saying, if you don't have the money out in your wallet, you don't actually own it. And a lot of times people look at these things and they're like, I was up on, Joey Coin up 4,000%. But if you had tried to sell Joey Coin at the top, there wouldn't have been enough buyers. Like it would have went down, down, down. You wouldn't have been able to sell as much. So you really didn't have that. When you sell it, when you have it, that's when you have it. The rest of the time, it's all paper money. All right, I think we're out of stories. So we're going to move on to predictions or story of the week. Dan, Eve, are you ready with a prediction or a story of the week?
Yes, I get a choice because I never have a story of the week. It's dull in Danville. My story of the week was that my story of the week was that I almost sunk 10 grand into, I have 10 grand, I have 10,000 credits of some sort into Luna because I thought, screw it. It's lost 99.99998888898%. How much worse can it go? And I didn't do that, and I'm happy that I didn't. But my prediction is, so I do have a story of the week. My prediction is that China will ban Bitcoin again.
Oh, not again. And if somebody...
Wait, isn't it still it's still banned in China, right? They didn't unban it.
Unban it. I'm sure I read
double secret probation.
No, it's still banned. It's still banned.
No, I thought mining's banned. But
right.
They unbanned Bitcoin.
I don't think it's unbanned. I think it's still banned.
You cannot ban a thing that is unbannable.
Yeah. Bitcoin.
All right, Adam McBride, you got a story a week or a prediction? Go ahead.
Well, it's funny because also in the trending on Twitter is Elon Gate. I don't know if you guys saw this. Elon was accused of, I don't know.
Obviously, I love the hashtag.
Showing his private. So, but Elon Gate was, you talk about shit coins. The only time I lost money over the last year was buying one of these stupid shit coins. And I did it. I don't know what I bought, Shiba Inu. And the other one was Elon Gate. There was another one called Elon Gate because Elon had tweeted out, if I ever have if they ever come after me, it's going to be called Elon Gate. So these guys made a token called Elon Gate. I bought that. It pumped up, I tripled my money, quadrupled my money. Oh shit, I'm going to, idiots like me, all they hear about is the dude who bought something and bought $200 worth of it and turn that into $24 million. So automatically I think, I'm going to turn mine into $24 million. Whatever. I didn't sell a penny. And so I still have that Elon Gate somewhere in some wallet somewhere. I could go find it. And it's probably at 0.00000008. But it's trending again. So who knows? Maybe we're going to turn this ship around.
Oh my God, it's at 57%. And it is actually worth 0.000000234
That now you got to find your old wallet. You're all set.
Is it up today? Is it up it is
up
50%?
50%, yeah.
That's
the last set. Oh God,
I'm rich. I'm never doing this show again. I'm gonna go retire.
Done. Elongate. Yes, we'll have to see how that turns out. There's a lot of trouble there. We'll have to see how it goes for him.
It's awesome.
So we've got stories of the week here for the show. Check out Life on Bitcoin. This is a classic Bitcoin documentary that you probably haven't seen. It was filmed in 2013. The price of Bitcoin was around $100, and this young couple of newlyweds decided to live on Bitcoin for 90 days. As you can imagine, the documentary starts out everything fine and rosy, and by the end, boy, are they tired of having to beg every time they want to buy gas or go to the supermarket or anything like that. Yet at the same time, everyone watching it now will be like, what? They paid 0.2 for a train ticket? What? They paid 0.2 for a bagel? Like, all this kind of thing just keeps happening.
Has anybody done the math on the total amount they've spent? God. They spent $85 million.
I talked to Austin at the conference, and I think he spent around 84 Bitcoin back in the day on kind of living and on this project. And at the time, they'd raised and an amazing amount. I think they raised like 84 and they spent it all on, filming and cameras and all this kind of thing. And then as you can see here, the documentary was finished in 2017. That's when I got to see it at the Internet Archive. But it took them another 4 years to get it onto these platforms. Like you can watch it on Amazon or Apple iTunes. It's like $5. You guys should go buy it. I'm sure they aren't making money on it, but it's so classic.
Can you pay with Bitcoin?
I'm sure you can't pay with Bitcoin. And everyone's audience like, I can't spend $5. All day long they're like charging their gasoline, charging their stuff at Amazon. They're like, but if it's to buy a movie for someone and it's Bitcoin, it has to be Bitcoin. But no, you guys should check it out. It's fun.
So in their features our very own Josh, right? He was with Jörg Platzer in
we haven't confirmed
77.
yet. I think it might be Josh. There's a 6 foot tall Josh looking man. There's a great interview with Jörg Platzer at Room 77, historic Bitcoin bar in Berlin. And again, the interviews from 2013. They've got great interviews with Adam Levine, Kashmir Hill, Charlie Shrem, a bunch of other great people back in the day, 2013, Tony Glippi, stuff like that. And just totally classic Bitcoin documentary that I don't think that many people have seen. So,
I was going to say in 2018, I met Jörg Platzer for the first time actually at Blockchain Hotel, and we got the train to Berlin for, I think it was Block Show Europe, one of these like extravagant Frabjou crypto conferences of 2018, and then I think he showed me an article about when because he was the first brick and mortar business in the world to accept Bitcoin, and I think it was something like 2.5 Bitcoin for a burger and a beer when he first started accepting Bitcoin. 2.5 Bitcoin for a burger and a beer. Wow.
Delicious.
Absolutely a legend. And as you can see in the documentary, they kind of go around the neighborhood there in Kreuzberg in Berlin. And everyone they talk to, they're like, why do you accept Bitcoin? And they're like, oh, Jorg over at the bar made me accept it. Oh, Jorg made me accept it. And really, he just created a whole Bitcoin neighborhood there temporarily. Nothing lasts, but it was an amazing time back in 13 or 14 when this bar in Berlin and everyone around it all took Bitcoin. And I will
plug myself there. Adam Levine is one of my favorite podcasts I've ever done. If you guys check out my podcast, my interview with Adam is amazing. He is mind-blowing. Awesome.
Well, and Adam's great in this interview too, very much ahead of his time. Also great to see him from 2013. Everyone looks younger. It's a fun thing. And I made it all the way to the end, to the credits, and I was shocked to see my own name on the screen. Like I said, when I was at Purse, we sponsored the Internet Archive premiere of Life on Bitcoin in 2017, and they included Andrew Lee, Kent Liu, and Thomas Hunt from Purse. So it was very cool to be included with the Purse crew, and Brewster Kale, the founder of the Internet Archive, just put my name right above his there. And then I was in there again because they went to our Bitcoin meetup and must have filmed there. And you can see Paige Peterson, Isabel DeClerc, and Thomas Hunt. Again, the San Francisco Bitcoin meetup. And our name's right below Roger Ver and Andreas Antonopoulos there. So pretty cool. First time I've ever watched the credits of a movie and seen my own name, let alone to see my own name twice.
Very
and
cool,
we've also got a new interview this week on World Crypto Network. Check out Proof of Work, an interview with Travis Uhrig, one of the co-founders of Curio Cards that I also worked on in 2017. We talk all about Travis's first computer in this exciting interview. So that's about it.
You got to spoil it. What was it? Commodore 64? What was his first computer?
Seems like a Commodore 64. I don't know. Probably like just an Apple or something. Or I think it's a generic PC. A lot of people are like just generic PC. I think he said Computer Labs,
Dell.
some game. And it's so great to think about the small decisions that developers make. Like a developer didn't make a save mode for this game. So young Travis had to come down every morning, play through the same levels of the game so he could get to the part of the game that he liked. And it's just like this whole thing. Like he's like, I got really good at levels 1 through 3 so I could get to level 4 that I enjoyed.
Dude, I remember I would play the game before the school bus came in the morning. And then if I got really far, I just pause the game. I'd turn the TV off and pause the game would sit paused for like 9 hours.
That's the
And
only
then I
Waiting
come
for
back
you.
from school and pray that
you're
nothing
taking a
happened, that my
horrible
mom
risk,
didn't bump it or something.
or your brother comes and plays it or resets it, loses all your lives. Like that's all we had back in the day. We were completely dependent. We had no other options. But
Another world.
you kids and your video games today, your tech jerseys and your gaming teams, your League of Legends. But that's a topic for another time. Thanks to everybody for joining us. Be sure to give us a thumbs up down below and push subscribe. Until next time, bye.